Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn how to actually solve for x while factoring. So we know how to factor. We're going to look for something I can pull out of both 4x squared and 8x. I can divide both of them by 4, and I can also take an x away from each of them. When I divide 4 by 4, we're left with 1. When I say x squared minus x, we're just left with a single x, minus 8 divided by 4 is 2, and x divided by x, of course, just goes away. But we all know we don't have to write 1x, so I could really just say x minus 2. Okay. So now, when you solve for x, we have to set them equal to 0. So we're going to take both of these. We have 4x and we have x minus 2. We're going to say 4x equals 0. We're also going to say x minus 2 equals 0. So when you actually have to solve for x, it just adds in one more step. So you get it factored just like you've been doing. Now we're just setting it equal to 0 once you've factored it. Once you set them equal to 0, you're just getting x all by itself. Of course, this one, it's 4x. They're attached, so we're going to be dividing by 4 on each side. Of course, we're left with x equals 0 divided by 4 is 0. This one right here, we have x minus 2 equals 0. We do the opposite, so we're going to add 2 to both sides. We're left with x equals positive 2. So now we're left with x equals 0 and 2, and then how you'd write that as your final answer is x equals, in a brace, 0, comma, 2, close brace, and there you go. Okay, let's also look at another example. Let's see here, number 2. Let's look at 3x squared minus 13x minus 30. Okay, so we're going to factor it just like we've been doing. We can't divide 3, 13, and 30 all by the same number, so we're just going to start by multiplying 3 times 30. So now we have x squared minus 13x minus 3 times 30 gives you 90. Okay, so we're going to write some factors of 90. We have 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 30, 5 and 18, 9 and 10, and I could keep going, but actually since we're just looking for 13, I already see one that's going to give us 13, which is 18 and 5. And of course, I'm just doing this all in my head. You can always have your calculator here and just start dividing it by random numbers to get you some pairs. Okay, so we're going to break this down into x and then x. Okay, so we want negative 13. We have 18 and a 5. So obviously 18 minus 5 will give you 13. But since we want it to be negative, we're going to have to make this 18 negative. So then it'll be negative 18 plus 5. That'll give you the negative 13. Okay. So now that we've broken it into x minus 18 and x plus 5, now we're going to divide both of these by the 3 that we multiplied in up here. Okay, well, we can simplify 18 over 3, right? 18 divided by 3 will give us 6. And then over here, we can't simplify 5 divided by 3, so we're going to have to take the 3 that's in the denominator and put it in front of the x. So now, instead of saying x plus 5/3, we're going to say 3x plus 5. Okay, so what we've been doing is we've just been stopping here, but now since we want to solve for x, we're going to have to set each of these equal to 0. So we're going to say x minus 6 equals 0. We're also going to say 3x plus 5 equals 0. So keep in mind, once you get here, all we're doing is we're just getting x by itself. So in this case right here, we have a negative 6. We're going to add 6 to both sides. We get x equals 6. Over here, we're going to start by subtracting 5 from both sides. Then we have 3x equals negative 5. And then lastly, we're going to divide both sides by 3. We get x equals negative 5/3. So we have x equals 6 and x equals negative 5/3. So for our final answer, we're going to put them together in a brace. And there we go. Okay, so we're actually going to look at 3 more examples. I want to make sure we cover all types of possible problems. So in order to factor this one, and before you factor any trinomial, whether you're solving for x or not, everything has to be on the same side. It has to be equal to 0. So I'm just going to get everything on the same side. I'm going to subtract x squared from both sides. I'm going to add a 1 to both sides. 2 minus 1 gives us just 1, x squared. And then we have negative 50 plus 1 will give you negative 49. Now it's equal to 0. Okay. Well, if you remember, both of these are perfect squares, so that means we can just take the square root of both of them. We start with our 2 parentheses. Square root of x squared is x, because x times x equals x squared. We have one positive and one negative parenthesis. And then the square root of 49 is 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. And now that we've got it factored, now we're going to say x plus 7 equals 0, and x minus 7 equals 0. Subtract 7. We get one solution is x equals negative 7. We add 7 to both sides. We get another solution is x equals 7. Put them together for our final answer in a brace.